Alright, hey guys, welcome back to another week of me trying to be profitable and earn a payout. And this week was pretty alright. There were quite a few good opportunities for me to take some clean setup. Overall, I reckon I did pretty alright as I waited patiently for those moves to come. But yeah, it's just a slow but rewarding process, but I won't delay anymore, so I'll just get into this week's trades. Alright, so for today, price seemed to be pretty bullish as we were respecting this 1 hour order block, and we had a shift higher creating a 4 hour inverse fair value gap, which added on to this bias. And the overall look for price seemed to be pretty bullish for this week too, as we did have a wick sweep of a low and we're respecting some key levels to push higher. And looking at the low time frame, we seem to be continuing with that bullish trend with a 15 and 5 minute order block. We did have a wick sweep of a high on the 5 minute though, which conflicted with that bullish bias, so I wanted to wait for some more confirmation of alignment and a shift before considering anything. And I didn't have to wait for long today though, as price ended up pushing lower and creating a 5 minute wick sweep of a low, which cancelled out that high sweep. And we also got a shift higher with a 1 minute inverse fair value gap, which allowed me to enter into this setup. I entered with 5 cons initially because I wanted to gauge the risk, and after price got another shift higher, I topped up to my regular risk. And this trade was a bit stressful to be honest, but market hit shortly after, which we survived, and after that I knew we were in for a banger. And price ended up pushing up pretty well and we hit our break even zone, which you guessed it, I moved my stop to break even and allowed price to continue running. And you can see that I was considering taking out my profits for a second, and that was because there was a potential 5 minute wick sweep of a high and that would ruin my trade. It didn't form though, and price ended up running really well to hit my TP for a nice cheeky win. And today's setup was really good and I'm happy with it, and it was for sure A+. What I'm not too happy about was my emotions during it, as I was quite stressed out during the trade. I wanted to lock in the profits, which is not what I want to do, as that's not letting my model play out. I need to accept that sometimes the model does take break evens and losses, and sticking to the model as well will help it compound over time. And I did end up taking it out early though, and I did let it play out, which is good, and I reckon it's reinforcing that idea in my mind to let the model play out, which is good. But yeah, that's just something that I noticed. Alright guys, so today we seem to be pretty bearish overall as we are making lower highs and lower lows, and we had just retested into this 4 hour and 1 hour order block, which is a strong key level that price rejected off of. This move does look like an overall smaller retest before price wants to move higher though, as the overall for the higher time frame I do feel a bit bullish. Looking at the low time frame, we are continuing with that bearish bias as price is respecting these confluences and continuing to head lower. We had a confirmation lower again though. The formation was really weak and we are currently moving without much volume, so I want to wait to see if price becomes more clear, and perhaps we could target a small sell going for an immediate wick sweep, as I don't want to be too ambitious due to the bullish suspicion I had earlier. And I ended up finding my entry pretty quick as we had a wick sweep of a 5 minute high, and we ended up inversing a 1 minute fair value gap, creating an inverse fair value gap. Price ended up continuing lower, where I then topped up my contracts to around $300 risk. We did survive market open though, which does give me some confidence that this trade would run. No, it didn't, and price ended up just stopping me out shortly after the I'm pin moment. And for today, honestly, I think the setup was all good. A+ setup for sure, as it had both high time and low time confluences backing it up, as well as market sentiment with a 5 minute wick sweep of a high. One thing to note is that the initial idea I had of the high time running bullish could have indicated to me that perhaps the condition as a whole wasn't that great to trade today, especially with there being a no news Tuesday. You can see that the move ended up running shortly after, but the timing was just off, so perhaps I gotta be more patient and wait for price to be more clear. I don't think that it's anything like that though, because I did wait for confirmation after that wick sweep, and maybe I don't need to look too into it, and I am pretty happy with the setup today. Condition wasn't too good, but I managed to get the read correct, and A+ setup too, so I just gotta be careful for the seek and destroys. So for today, we look pretty bearish with us trending lower on the high time frame, and we do have a 4 hour and 1 hour order block, which we are respecting. So overall, we are pretty bearish, and we do have plenty of great points of liquidity we could target. Because of that, I do feel the shorts. And low time frame was pretty bearish too, with us having a 15 and 5 minute order block, which we were respecting as well. And we did push on quite hard though, and we did sweep out all the recent prominent draws on liquidity to the sell side, which did put me off the sells quite a bit. But I was still interested in the sells until price proved otherwise. And we ended up continuing to plummet further. We ended up forming a new 5 minute order block, and we did get a nice little retest into a continuation lower. I also tapped into a 1 minute highlight golden zone, which was pretty nice. I was interested in getting in if price confirmed the shift lower with nice momentum, which we did get, and I was going to enter, but what stopped me was I realized that it was around 100 pips, which kind of shocked me, not gonna lie, because we were on the 1 minute time frame, and I went to calculate the risk size, and by the time I got back, the trade already started running, so it was an A+ setup, but I ended up missing it. But yeah, That was the one setup that I was going for today, and since it ended up running without me, I had to call it a day there. And for today, I really think that the hesitation got to me because the setup was really good to take, honestly. It was A+ as the high time and low time were aligned, and we even had a wick sweep of high on the low time frame with a golden turn tap and a shift lower on with momentum. And real good A+ setup overall, but because I made a little mistake, I ended up missing out on it. It's all good though, I'll be careful not to make the same mistake again. I'll be more efficient with my risk calculations. Okay, so for today we seem to be pretty bearish on the high time frame as we are trending low with some crazy power, and we even swept out a daily draw on liquidity, which I initially wanted to use as the target, but since we swept that out, I want to see how price reacts to that sweep. And looking at the low time frame, price was being pretty bearish right now as we had a 15 plus 5 minute order block and a 5 minute wick sweep over high for bearish, and these confluences were really strong honestly, so I wouldn't be surprised if we ran bearish. The only thing is that it's a bit early for me to take a setup, so I need to wait for price to develop a bit more. All good though, as there is a 5 minute fair value gap that price needs to break through, and we also had a wick sweep of the lows too along with the high time frame liquidity sweep, so it's all good for me to wait for some more confirmation. And I ended up entering this trade as soon as I could enter because that time actually aligned with price forming a 1 minute inverse fair value gap. Since we got that confirmation, plus we retested the discount zone for the 5 minute highlight range and the 5 minute order block, this setup was A+. And we had a 1 hour fair value gap target too, and the trade was pretty small, and I was confident that the setup would hit pretty quickly, and we did get a nice pop-up which was followed up by a little retest into the 1 minute fair value gap. I had a move to break even at this point since I wanted to give the setup some space to breathe, and I was still very confident in this setup running. And we got another bullish candle from that retest with a bit more power, and since we got that formation, I will move to break even as it wouldn't make sense for price to retest deeper. Though we ended up getting a massive candle down and got stopped out for break even for today. And for today, the setup was pretty good. I would say that it was A+, and the high time frame had that wick sweep, and the current low time frame was showing more bullish moves with the wick sweeps and the imbalance fills too. And we had a good target with that 1 hour fair value gap, and it was quite unfortunate that it didn't play out. All good though, just landed on the wrong side of probability today, but there'll be more opportunities in the future. And there were already plenty of great opportunities this week, so I'm happy with how it played out. Alright, so that does it for this week. Overall, a pretty decent week. Took a nice little dub on Monday, which brought my account up quite a lot, but I ended up missing out on a few good opportunities, but it's all good. I know more setups are gonna come, I just gotta be patient and execute when it's the proper time to. I'm happy with the progress, but I also feel like it's pretty slow. Not a bad thing to be honest, it just feels a little weird not having too much to do when I was just stressing out a few weeks ago about having too much things to do. So yeah, it's freeing, but at the same time I don't feel as productive as I did before, so I'm gonna try to fill in that time with some other good habits like reading more, maybe some more sessions of meditation, playing an instrument, I don't know, something else other than spending too much time on the charts, because to be fair, right now I reckon that I just need to give the trading thing more time, and I don't think it's necessarily that I need more time on the charts. I just need to understand and recognize when those A+ setups come and cut out all those trades that don't meet the criteria. And yeah, that's about it for this week. So if you guys are interested, check out the Discord. It's just a chill place for everybody to talk and grow as traders, and we're all on the same path to become the traders that we want to become, so join up if you guys are keen. But yeah, that's about it for this one, so I'll see you guys in the next video.